Parents and educators are speaking out the day after doctors at SickKids said it is imperative that children return to school in September, citing the negative mental and behavioral impacts of keeping them home. But criticism tonight that the recommendations downplayed the threat of COVID-19, and some parents say they're just not willing to take the risk of sending their kids back.
Come September, I'm not comfortable.
After watching the pandemic unfold in unimaginable ways in Ontario, ravaging institutions like long-term care homes and now migrant farm workers, some parents have lost confidence in the government's ability to prevent outbreaks in schools.
Those issues, relatively speaking, in terms of the context, were much, much simpler to solve than education. Education, every issue is like an onion. You take off one layer and you have another layer.
And now a team of experts at SickKids have released an 11-page document with recommendations on how to safely reopen schools, highlighting the dire mental health effects of keeping them closed.
It has never really been 100% safe to send children to school. There's always been a risk of contracting some infectious disease. We have to stop living in fear from the virus.
But some parents say the proposal missed the mark. Sue Gowans has a daughter in high school and says the recommendations were vague, with too much emphasis on elementary schools.
Secondary school is much more complex. It has rotating classes, all of them. They're larger. High schools are often over 1,000, sometimes even 2,000 students compared to a couple hundred in elementary schools.
The document has also been criticized for failing to address how to protect educators.
It was very focused on how we protect the mental health and well-being of our children. So we are going to need a lot more input from educators, from Toronto Public Health, Ontario Public Health, Ministry of Education on how we protect our educators.
In a Zoom press conference this morning, Education Minister Stephen Lecce said the advice from SickKids has been invaluable, but there is still a long way to go, and there have been no commitments on a timeline just yet.
The fact is we've been consulting widely. Our commitment is to ensure that everyone, including our staff in our schools, remains safe. And our ongoing effort is to continue to listen.
SickKids did emphasize that they are not educators and these are just preliminary guidelines. They also released numbers to demonstrate why the risk to children is low. For instance, children and youth under 18 make up just 5% of total COVID-19 cases in Canada. But parents fear that might change if schools were to reopen. For City News, I'm Yazdani.